Alright, so our first basic introductory lesson, base 10 blocks. What are base 10 blocks? Well, these are base 10 blocks. Base 10 blocks come in a few different colors, but all the shapes are exactly the same. They're usually centimeter cubes for units, and then you have 10 units, which will give you a rod, and then 10 rods, which will give you a flat. For adults, it's probably, we can see that, this would equal 100, this would be 10, this would be obviously, would be 1. For younger kids, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't so obvious, so we should never assume. Now, on the base 10 blocks are on my little sheet. This is a base 10 chart, and we usually use the base 10 charts for creating numbers, for addition, subtraction, place value, and they'll have flats, and they'll have the little visual, the rods, and they'll have the visual units, and then the visual. Other sheets that you find like this, they'll have ones, tens, and hundreds instead of units, rods, and flats. Me personally, I like it referring to them as units, rods, and flats. It just seems that it's more concrete for the kids, and it's a name, it's not a number. So it's not 5 ones, it's 5 units, and it's very straightforward and I guess concrete for the kids. For today's case, since we're just doing introductory concepts, I would just not even use the sheet. I just wanted to show it to you. So, first thing, first time you're introducing base 10 blocks to kids, especially for younger kids, you just want to have them get the feel of it. So with the base 10 blocks, just have them play around with a few of the units, the rods, and the flats, and make some generalizations between relationships. After they played around for a bit, they might come and they might say, well, I kind of noticed that, the 10 of the units equals a rod, or they may not. You might have to kind of question them and play along with them and kind of guide them along, and that's fine also. But once they come to those generalizations, it's important because you don't need to over teach it. They should kind of explore it and see that for themselves, and expand those relationships. Well, okay, well, we know that 10 units equals a rod. How many rods do you think equal a flat? What number do you think that is? And then have them play around, and they'll say, well, 10 rods equals a flat. Okay, cool. And if they want, you can actually have them use the units and see how many units equal. I mean, that might take a while, but some kids have a lot of energy and they want to explore it. Other kids may not. They can just leave it at the rods, and that's okay also. The next thing I would do is, very basic introduction, is play games. Games are really important for kids to develop relationships, to pick up generalizations, and just to get used to the rods. Before we start writing down values, like 200, 63. That's not what we want to do with them first. We want them to explore and to kind of have fun with these rods, because there'll be plenty of time to develop math concepts later. The first few lessons are important for them to get used to it. So one of the first things I like to play with my kids, or kids that I tutor, very simple game, ant house. I'm making a house for an ant, and I kind of show them that making a house for an ant. Let me just move this out of the way. Alright, making a house for my ant friend. And I would just probably use the rods and the ones. I probably would stay away from the flats, unless they're really comfortable adding with the flats or the 100. It really varies per kid. So after they've kind of made their little ant house, it's better with a bunch of kids. So, but one kid is fine. So after they made their ant house, after we've modeled how to make an ant house, we counted up 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So our ant house has an address, 100. And, we encourage kids to make other ant houses with other numbers, maybe even draw it out. It's a lot of fun with kids to kind of explore using the rods and the units, and have them actually use the same number, and you'd be kind of impressed with the variation of housing of houses based on the same number. So you can see have the same number 23, and you might have 4 different kids and 4 entirely different looking houses using the same combination of numbers. So that's a very basic introductory lesson.